Today we are talking about adding and subtracting polynomials. Adding and subtracting polynomials are very similar to when you're solving equations where we can only combine things that are alike. So when I take a look at example number 1, here it wants us to perform the indicated operation and simplify. So I notice that I have 5a to the third plus 3a squared minus 6a plus 12a squared, added with 7a to the third minus 10a. So the first thing that I want to do in this problem is, if I can simplify within the parentheses first, I want to do that. And the first thing that I notice is that I have a positive 3a squared and a positive 12a squared. So I'm going to rewrite this first set of parentheses by combining like terms. Again, I can't combine it with a to the third because it doesn't have the same exponent. Just like I can't combine it with negative 6a because it only has 1 as an exponent. So when I simplify this, I'm going to write it in standard form. So that's 5a to the third power. 3 plus 12 is 15a squared minus 6a. And I'm going to put the parentheses back around that, added with 7a to the third power minus 10a. From here, what I want to do is now I can simplify amongst the parentheses. So I'm going to take this 5a to the third and I'm going to add it with 7a to the third. So I'm adding the coefficients in front. When we add polynomials, we do not change the exponent. When we subtract polynomials, we do not change the exponent. So 5 plus 7 gives me a total of 12a to the third power. Again, that does not become a to the sixth power. You only change the exponent when you're multiplying with the same base. So I'm going to cross those out because I've used those. Now I have 15a squared plus, notice there's no a squared on this side in that set of parentheses. So that's just going to be plus 15a squared. And then finally I have negative 6 plus negative 10. So negative 6a plus negative 10a, that gives me a total of negative 16a. So my final answer is 12a to the third power plus 15a to the second power minus 16a. In this next example, I have 3x squared plus 2x minus 5. There's nothing I can simplify in that set of parentheses, added with negative 3x squared minus 5x. So when I combine like terms here, I have 3x squared. That's my largest exponent. I want to start with that because when I go to write it in standard form, my largest exponent will be first, and then I work in descending order. So 3x squared plus negative 3. So 3 plus negative 3 is 0. So that actually is eliminated. Do not write just x squared remains, because that implies that there is one x squared left over, and that's not the case that we have here. So that is just eliminated. So next I'm going to combine positive 2x with negative 5x. 2 minus 5 is negative 3x. And then I still have this negative 5 left over. So my final answer here is negative 3x minus 5. In C, the difference between C and D and A and B is that I am dealing with subtraction here. Okay, when we subtract, it causes more issues with the second set of parentheses. The most common mistake that students make when they go to subtract here is they only put the negative with the 5m to the fourth, when in fact you need to distribute that negative to each term. So I like to tell my students, make sure the sign changes in the second set of parentheses first. So that makes this negative 5m to the fourth. A negative times a negative then changes this to positive 5m to the second. And then a negative times a positive makes this negative 8. Now, I did not do anything with this first set of parentheses, so I'm going to recopy it without the parentheses when I bring it down here. So that's 7m to the fourth minus 2m squared. Now I just want to combine like terms, like I did in example A and example B. So my largest exponent is to the fourth power, so I have 7m to the fourth power minus 5m to the fourth power. 7 minus 5 is a total of 2m to the fourth power. So that gets eliminated. Then I have negative 2m squared plus 5m squared. Negative 2 plus 5 gives me a total of 3m squared. And now that I've used those, I'm left with just this minus 8 at the end. So my final answer is 2m to the fourth plus 3m squared minus 8. So again, in example D, what I want to do is I want to bring down the first set of parentheses, keeping it exactly like I see it without the parentheses. Then I'm going to take this minus sign and I'm going to distribute and change the signs in the second set of parentheses. So this was positive x squared, now becomes negative x squared. This was negative 9, now becomes positive 9. And now I want to combine like terms. So my largest exponent is negative 10x to the second power. Combine that with negative x, negative 10 minus 1 leaves me with negative 11x squared. So that's eliminated. And then negative 3x has nothing to combine with, so I'll just bring down minus 3x. And then 7 added with 9 gives me positive 16. Now on the next page, or on the next part, I'd like you to do the U-tries on your own. Go ahead and pause the video, and when you're ready to resume to check your answers, they'll be there for you. For the U-tries, for A, you should have gotten negative x squared, or you could have said negative 1x squared minus 7x plus 6. And for B, you should have gotten 4y squared plus y minus 5. Remember, in this one, it's positive because this becomes a positive when you multiply two negatives. This is positive 3y, and this is negative 9. In example 2 here, it says perform the indicated operation and simplify. So they're trying to not necessarily confuse you, but just make the problem a little bit longer. So I have 3 sets of parentheses here. And again, my hint for you would be to make sure you get rid of all negative signs first by distributing it to the parentheses. So in this first example, I see that this is negative, and I'm going to change the sign in the second set, or the third set of parentheses. So this makes this negative 5x. A negative times a positive is negative 1. Now I'm just going to rewrite what I have in the first 2 sets of parentheses without the parentheses. So that's 2x plus 5 plus 3x squared minus 2. So now if I go to combine like terms, my largest exponent is x squared, so leading term would be 3x squared. Then I have 2x and negative 5x. 2 minus 5 is negative 3, and that gets the x. And then I have positive 5 minus 2. 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 minus 1 is 2. So my final answer here is 3x squared minus 3x minus 2. In example B, again, distribute the negative or the minus sign if you have one in the problem, and in this case we do. So I'm going to take this negative and distribute or change the sign in the second set of parentheses. So that becomes negative 2x squared, and then a negative times a positive is a negative. And then I'm just going to rewrite what's left over without the parentheses. So out front I'll have 3x squared minus 5x. And back here I'll have plus x minus 1. So now combine like terms. My largest exponent is x squared, so that's 3x squared minus 2x squared. 3 minus 2 is 1. So it's 1x squared. You can write the 1 here if you want to. I prefer not to. So I'm done with those 2 terms. Negative 5x plus x. So again, that's negative 5 plus 1 leaves me with negative 4x. And then negative 4 minus 1 leaves me with negative 5. So my final answer for B is x squared minus 4x minus 5. So go ahead and pause the video now. Try the U-try on your own. When you're ready to resume, hit play and the answer will be there for you. So for the U-try, you should have gotten negative 6x squared plus 2x minus 4. Don't forget to distribute that negative there. For our third and final example, okay, it says to find the perimeter of for the following shapes. Remember, perimeter is going to be the distance around an object. Do not confuse that with the area, which is the amount of space inside an object. With perimeter, we are adding. With area, we are multiplying. So when we want to find the perimeter, here we're dealing with, in example A, a rectangle. So if this top side is 3x squared minus 4x, the properties of rectangles is that opposite sides are congruent. So that means that this bottom side is 3x squared minus 4x. And opposite sides are congruent, so this left side would be 4x squared plus 5x. So now what I want to do, if I want to find the perimeter, which is the distance around, I want to add up all of the sides. Okay, so this is 3x squared minus 4x added with 3x squared minus 4x added with 4x squared plus 5x added with 4x squared plus 5x. So now when we go to combine like terms, I have 3x squared plus 3x squared plus 4x squared plus 4x squared. So 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. 10 plus 4 is 14. So we have 14x squared. And combining the x's, I have negative 4 minus 4, or negative 4 plus negative 4. That leaves me with negative 8. Plus 5 gives me negative 3. Plus 5 would leave me with positive 2. So my final answer here would be 14x squared plus 2x, and that is the perimeter, or the distance around this rectangular shape. So in example B, okay, here we have 3x squared minus 7x plus 2 for one side of the rectangle. Opposite sides are congruent. So this is 3x squared minus 7x plus 2. And the other side is 7x squared plus x minus 12. So opposite sides are congruent. So that's 7x squared plus x minus 12. And now we want to combine like terms. So you can rewrite it if you want to, if you have the space. If you don't, really what you're doing here is you're just combining the things that are alike. So I have 3x squared added with 7x squared added with 3x squared added with 7x squared. So 3 plus 7 is 10x squared. Plus 3 is 13x squared, plus 7x is 20x squared. So 20x squared total. Again, 3 plus 7 is 10, plus 3 is 13, plus 7 is 20. If I add up all the x's, negative 7x plus x is negative 6x. Minus 7x would be negative 13x. Plus one more x would be negative 12x. So again, where that comes from is negative 7x plus 1x is negative 6x, minus 7x is negative 13x, plus x is negative 12x. And then lastly, I have here the constants, so that is 2 minus 12. 2 minus 12 is negative 10. Plus 2 would give me negative 8. Minus another 12 would give me negative 20. So the perimeter here is going to be 20x squared minus 12x minus 20. What I'd like you to do is try the next figure in the U-try on your own. When you've gotten your solution, hit unpause, check your answers, and then that'll complete the notes. So for the U-try, you should have gotten 17x squared minus x.